Okay, guys, so we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly, I'll be your friendly travel log today, because today we are going to be carrying on, or returning to, and then carrying on with our ongoing campaign, playing Fantasy Flight Games' outstanding Rogue Trader Warhammer 40K RPG. This is returning to the crew of the Mortis Probati, the stars of our campaign, played by the stars of this campaign. I'll go the order I've got. Let me introduce you to the stars. I'll go the order I've got them on the screen here, which tells who you are and who you're playing tonight, guys. First up, we've got Sean. Oh, who might be muted.
Oh,
so we are toasting to Mo.
It's me.
There's Mo.
And playing the youngish scion of the family, Quinili Aquare.
Yes, Lord Captain Quinili Aquare. We've met two other members of the Aquare dynasty over the past few months. We're returning to the original now. Next up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Alessander, everyone's favorite pilot who likes cactuses. I don't remember my title. I thought I had it on my sheet here somewhere, but I don't see where I put it.
Yeah, so for those listening at home, there has been an update to the Rogue Trader sheet. It's part of the reason we're starting.
Oh, I'm the Void Master. I found it.
Yeah.
Oh, and my title is Master Helmsman. I did find it.
Thought so. Okay, yeah, because they have those titles in Into the Storm. And then last, but certainly not least, is our resident armorsmith, Dave.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave, and I'm playing Godwin. He is the Seneschal and the Master of Whispers.
Okay, very nice.
To help improve morale.
Very nice. So it has been, at the time of recording, it was, I believe, either the beginning of the year or late last year, where we played our last and our final session of the Rogue Trader last time, because let me see here. We have, at the time of recording, just concluded two war stories in this campaign that featured different characters as members, different members of the Aquari dynasty in using different RPGs. And it was January 19th, 2024, when we last played these characters. So, for those listening at home, this is in part going to be a catch-up and a reminder of what had been going on before we drive this adventure forward to the next leg of our campaign that will be called The Lure of the Expanse. And for those who may be wanting to run, or play, I should say, in Rogue Trader, we're going to be using a fair bit of material from Lure of the Expanse, the adventure, for this. So, spoilers ahead for those who may want to play in Lure of the Expanse. So, guys, what in general do you recall as having happened last for the stalwart crew of the Mortis Probati?
A whole lot of time in the warp trying to get from one place to the other.
I think we just arrived at Footfall. I want to. That's what I want to say, is that we stopped when we arrived ish.
Yeah, I think you'd concluded we had completed the 280 days or whatever it was in the warp.
Yeah,
craziness.
I have down a 240 day. But
240. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up to the in our games. We had all of them set out as well. That's before these ones.
Our main goal was tracking down a wasn't it an Aquari ship that had treasure on it? That was the intent.
Ancient righteous path or something, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the predecessors in the Aquari family had,
like your great grandfather or something.
Yeah, 48 weeks. 48 weeks in the warp.
48 weeks.
But you had some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Godwin told the captain there's a chapel on level 13 that might be full of mutants. I have that as part of my notes too.
Yep. That happened during it. There was something you discovered. One of the things that was we've known about the history of the Mortis Probati is that at some point it had been fused with a space Hulk.
Oh,
and
right.
there was something that Godwin uncovered.
Oh yeah, the ship people were worshiping the ship or something.
But there was
those
something
lines.
within the walls of the ship. It was the souls, bound souls in stones that were of Eldar origin, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. There were, let me see if I've got the handout in this one.
Right, it built into the hull, or it's like we were thinking we'd try and pull them out, but it might damage the hull irreparably.
Yeah. Yeah, there is what Regis knew was that there were Eldar ships are apparently made of some kind of unusual material that they call wraithbone. And within the wraithbone, there can be set these, it has an unusual psychic quality to it. And then within those as well, there can be these things called soul stones. Soul stones? Soul gems? Soul stones, I think. And within them, there are the souls or ghosts of Eldar, of ancient Xenos. And it seemed to have been them that they were communicating to. Captain Aquare, I think, I'm trying to remember who you had whether you had shared your shirtless activities with. Because you may recall that there were times when you were hallucinating in the warp where you had found and peeled away parts of the hull, had exposed yourself, and recovered consciousness during the warp delusions, covered that up and kind of went on. And then when you were attacked by your seneschal, not seneschal, but your steward, you may remember that something woke you up as well, warned you against its attack.
He's got it's a malignancy blackouts.
Yes.
That you're referring to.
Yeah, and it did seem as if the ship itself was communicating with you.
Oh.
So knowing that there are ghosts of Eldar haunting at least some of the hull, it could very well be that it is powerful psychic spirits that are somehow watching over you, or at the least trying to keep you alive.
And I don't know yet about the what's the name of those kind of freakish assassin types on Footfall that we ran in
the Astral Knives.
The Astral Knives. I don't know about them yet, probably. So
no, you what do you call it? There's your friends, the Astral Knives.
Or what part they play, I would not know at this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't remember offhand how you guys elected to deal with them. I know there was some talk about what to do about the components on the ship that are of Eldar origin. I think some of that was a matter of dealing with the Eldar on Footfall when you return.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there was discussions. I don't know. That was too long ago. You remember, Jeff?
I don't think we had made a final decision exactly what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't remember the detail.
They seemed very wise, though. We were very wise, and we made prudent discussions that I can't recall, but it was all very good, I'm sure.
I'm sure we were smart about it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, very smart.
What you also would know is one thing that we learned subsequently is that in fiction, you can communicate to ships that are in the warp by way of the astropath. So you may remember that's part of the reason during our war stories that the folks who were left behind, those 2 agents, the what was it? The factotum? What do we call those?
Factotum was a shipless captain, right?
Yes, I think that was Ignatius.
James.
Ignatius was played by Jeff, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Imperial Maledictum.
Octavia, yep. And Octavia is is seconded to, or subservient at least, to Ignatius.
Yeah.
So Ignatius was the one who was left behind to sort of set up the the Aquare placeholding, and that's where you guys you fell in with the folks who were saved by Captain Aquare, the missionaries. The missionaries were traveling to Hephaestium's Rest. They wanted to deliver something, a saint's bone, as thanks for your saving them from those raiders. And when you went, that's when they discovered the Xenos threat that was there. Then, knowing how far away you were and how long it was going to take for the Mortis Probati to return, the Ignatius, having met up with Lord Captain Geraldine Jerry Blitz, came up with a way to try and increase the presence and the prestige of the Aquare while you're waiting, because Haderach fell, your adversary, while trying to reach the righteous path. He was able to return to Footfall a lot faster. And you did not want to have you guys return and find the Aquare name and the Aquare presence here had been burned out by House Fell. Ignatius had some other irons in the fire, but he had tasked James's character, Octavia Aquare, with tracking down where those Xenos scum might be. And our last adventure was you successfully doing that. You tracked them down into... gosh, I'm trying to remember where it was. Where was that Xenos hive, guys?
Was it in the macro statue?
You know, now that you mention macro statue, I think that is correct. It was indeed in the macro statue at Footfall.
I've been hearing macro statue by Sean's voice since you typed it into the chat today.
Statue.
So this was, of course, Footfall, and where all the adventures happened with the other characters in the interim. There still was a good, probably 6-month gap between when that adventure ended and when you guys are going to be actually returning. However, you as captain and crew of the Mortis Probati would have been hearing about all this stuff. So what do you think? You would not have been able to take any action on any of this, which is why we didn't bother to check in with you. But having heard these updates from Footfall, how do you guys feel about the activities of your subordinates, your agents at Footfall? It seems both Ignatius and Octavia have done the Aquare name proud thus far.
Yeah, it's good because we're unexpectedly out of sight, out of mind for quite some time. So it's good to know that that things still proceed apace within the Aquare clan, and things are afoot in our absence.
Is there any... So you would have also been filled in on the initial contact that they made with Vladimir Takara and the Kazbalika. They seem to have a functional relationship with them. There is also, interestingly, there was a strange Xenos ally. Very unexpected. Okay, what the fuck? Where'd it go? Very unexpected and very hard to get a hold of. There we go, guys.
Very hard to find. And
very
elusive.
Didn't have a shuriken gun?
He had a badass shuriken gun. Oops, wrong things. I apparently did not copy what I needed there.
I saw the picture coming up and I started cheering. I'm like, oh, that's just the most.
I want to see if I've got the image in here, whether it's saved to something different. Let's see. Well, there was a member, while I'm looking for this, there was a member of the mysterious Eldar who seemed to have come to the aid of the members of House Aquare. Archon, I believe, was his name. And he is a member of a faction of these Xenos raiders and pirates called the Twilight Swords. Your subordinates, shall we say, in Footfall have also improved their relationship with the Twilight Swords as well. And we have let's see here. We're not making use of the, what do you call it, influence rules necessarily from, who's it? Imperium Maledictum, but it is a good sort of rule of thumb of what your relationships have been like. You've got some...
Yeah. Oh, right.
House Blitz you're doing well with. The Astral Knives seem to like you. The Twilight Swords are fans. Adder Soliket is also someone who one of your psychics, where is he here?
Speaking of psychics, that reminds me, one of the things that happened on our adventure is we lost our psychic and we replaced them with
Lady Ash.
Which there's a little bit of trust still being built there.
So one of the interesting things about the Astropath, so in the game, Rogue Trader, the character career you can take is as an astropath. But the astropaths in fiction canonically are all blind. Like the reason that they have their connection to the, or they're able to track back to the Emperor is because they've been exposed to a fragment of the God Emperor's power, which is why they can navigate from effectively his spot. But in doing so, it blinds them. Not all psychics are blind. And I'm kind of picturing Lady Ash as being more of a sanctioned psyker as opposed to an astropath.
Uh-huh.
We haven't actually made use of her as an astropath yet. She did have a psychic... I heard rattling. Let me just go check on Anna. Be right back. Oops. Got a problem.
Yeah, security breach.
Oh, what are you doing?
Excuse me.
Okay. You okay? All right. Are you okay? You should lie down. Yeah, what you doing? You lie down there. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Something else I thought of when we were...
Sorry, Oswald. Just knocking shit around. So...
No security breach?
You know what? When I heard a thump, I just wanted to check what was going on, and it was her rearranging herself on the I think I mentioned before, she's got a metal plate in one of her legs, and she's got knees missing in the other one. So when she puts herself down, she really gonna, sits herself down, and if she happens to hip check something that's loud, it sounds like something knocks over, but it's just her enthusiastically getting comfortable. So that's what I heard. Is her banging around on the couch. We were talking about the Lady Ash. So Lady Ash, I'm thinking, is more like a sanctioned psyker as opposed to an astropath. But that's just...
She's not blinded, right?
She's not blinded. I hadn't pictured her be blinded in the way that she's been sort of conducting herself. It doesn't seem like that. So,
right.
And I don't... Although they have, maybe she has been blind this whole time, and we just haven't paid attention to it. I can't think of anything that's come up where she has been she's needed to see something. And the only psychic powers she's used have been out of the core book and out of the Navis Primer. So she has the stats of an astropath. She just is a bit of a renegade, having abandoned her position with Haderach Fell and thrown herself in with your lot, though not part of the astropathic choir any longer. So, but I'll think about that between now and next session. I don't think it makes a giant difference because you guys aren't making use of her as a astropath anyway, right? There's one point where you guys did use her to communicate with Haderach Fell, but I wonder if telepaths can do that anyway. You know, whether it's only astropaths who could do that, or whether telepaths could communicate over that long distance. I'll figure out between now and next session.
Typically, the astropathic choir comes to mind. That term, choir, seems to be for those really long distance communications. That strikes me. Yeah,
and I just don't know whether the choir is definitely there, so you guys have more than one astropath on board your ship. It's just that I don't know whether a typical psyker, a sanctioned psyker, would be able to access that net, whether they're also like a receiver and transmitter. So it doesn't really matter, but you have Lady Ash, who also is kind of a newfound ally, who actually I think helped you guys against that... there was some creature from the warp that followed you back from the righteous path as well, right?
Yeah.
The Ebon Geist, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember anything else occurring during the trip back apart from that investigation? I don't recall anything else, but... I guess, how does the crew and the captain, the Lord Captain, react to the news of these gene stealers seemingly being present? And we talked about this when we started the Imperium Maledictum thing, but one Captain Aquari, being cognizant of his dynasty, would know your ancestor, the Lord Inquisitor and Lord Captain, who had preceded you. Remember, he's the one who went missing, seemingly abandoned by his fleet.
What was his name?
His name was... I'm just looking through right now. I had a feeling you might ask.
Path belonged to him, right?
No, the Righteous Path was like a grandfather or great-grandfather. This was much longer before that. Where the heck... I know I had his name written down. Oh, here we go. Second set of notes. His name, Cobras Aquare. He was declared dead in 151 M41. And our current year is 816 M41.
Whoa.
So that was nearly 7 centuries ago. Yeah, that he went missing. And that appears to be the way that your agents have been sort of playing up the Aquare name there. True foes of the Xenos threat. They likely would have let you know as well the reason they did it, to kind of get in good with the cold trade that is the backbone of industry in the Coronis Expanse. What instructions would you guys have for the underlings? What would you like them to be doing in the intervening 6 months? Is there anything in specific that you would want them to pursue? Any allies you want them to seek out? They certainly have made a good impression, it seems, both Lady Octavia and Sir Ignatius with Captain Blitz.
And they've already dealt with the cult. Is that right? At this time, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the end of our Imperium Maledictum adventure would have been about 6 months before you got back to Footfall. So I'm curious in that half year if there's anything else you want them generally to pursue, because what we can do is we can translate that into an undertaking, into the kind of task to try and build up your presence.
I mean, Jerry seems a good contact, so keep her in the fold.
Yep.
Else, so I suppose they probably would have mentioned the astral knives at some point, at least in passing. You think?
I think so. Yep. We can assume anything your characters, if you think that your characters would share it with the house, I think you can assume that in that time, you guys have had a lot of time to kill, during this trip back, however perilous it was.
Right.
Would they have it? I don't know. We don't want them to assume the worst, but most trips to the warp don't take that long. And where they hadn't heard from us for a long period of time, would they have started to seek out, profitable endeavors to try and?
Well, remember that, the reason we're talking about this is because they can communicate to you. They know that you're not lost.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
because
they know we're in the warp. Right.
Yeah.
We just can't get back.
Yeah.
Right. I was just thinking they would, going on to take on some more endeavors to try and increase profit factor or house standing.
You're wondering if they would have sold all your stuff, Godwin?
They've rebranded.
Here's Godwin's sleeping mat. We're going to sell that.
Right.
Credit.
Yeah.
So
a little lawn sale.
Let me ask you this, guys. Would you want them to pursue anything in relation to the cold trade? That is the most common and most profitable profitable activity that goes on in the Kronos Expanse. You also had talked about potentially dealing with the Eldar to, in some capacity to address the fact that there's some of their ship seems to have been fused with the Mortis Probati.
Yeah, maybe get a lay of the land of the cold trade at least. Like, who are the movers and shakers? So we have a little bit of a map of what's going on at Footfall upon arrival, if possible.
Okay.
Who usually, maybe who has some item, who are the sellers, who are the buyers, what are the risks, who if anyone gets caught, if there are some downsides, how's that happen? Like, when's the last time that happened? That, the Inquisition is an obvious one, but there might be someone else, like the Arbeats. I don't know. They may show up once in a while. Who knows?
So the way that there are the Arbetes on the on Footfall as well. No, there aren't, because you encountered Arbetes on the whatever it is, that station that's on the cold something station that's on the other side of the Maw.
Right. Before we made the transition.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's actually not here. So here's some examples of what you could track down. Are things like finding, information or rumors about planets that have yet to be plundered. Finding opportunities where you could intervene on an ongoing cold trade.
Help out.
I mean, help out at that, Bolter point, maybe.
Yeah.
You could see if there are, but no, that also could be one as well, as learning who's involved and who you might be, you might assist with that if there's anyone who's having troubles with their delivery of the cold trade. You could also contact some Xenos, because there are others who have been out here, who have been to places where you have not necessarily been. The Eldar in particular. And I will tell you one interesting thing that has come up in the time since. The docks of... Oh, god dang. You know what? I found a pretty cool... I'm going to take a moment just to quickly load this. I forgot that there were images I ripped from one of the PDFs. Do you guys remember there was that Humble Bundle? It might still be available, actually, but there was a Humble Bundle that had a bunch of like Death Watch and Rogue Trader stuff in it. So I got a bunch of those. I got that, so I got a bunch of the PDFs from that. Which is awesome. The downside is, and so a lot of modern PDFs, especially for Cubicle 7 stuff, it's very easy to go into an edit mode and you can pull the images right out of there. Plop them out, stick them into Photoshop. Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. Either the way that they've been saved or the way that the way that Fantasy Flight put their PDFs together, individual images are actually like 3 or 4 separate little things that only come out one at a time that you then have to reassemble. Which is a long way of saying, like, I got a couple of things from some of those books, but after like playing puzzle pieces with 1 or 2 of them, like, I'm going to be very selective in which ones I need to track down.
People aren't pulling their artwork.
I honestly don't. It could be that. It's just. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
You could just. You could take a snippet, do a screen capture.
You
instead.
can. The trouble is when text overlaps with it, right? Because there's some that are like that. Gotcha. Yeah. So.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're absolutely right though.
Yeah.
Okay, so. I need.
Yeah, in fact, you can tell that from what's right behind me in the Lord Captain. That's because the text right there.
Cut around.
I had to do a very labor-intensive snippet right there.
Yeah. Well, I did one with the Footfall Docks. There's a fucking cool image in one of the adventures that I wanted to use. I just forgot to load it. Is that, where is he here? But that one had to be assembled, ransom note style from a bunch of separate little things.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a little seam that isn't apparent on the like in the Photoshop document, but when you save it to JPEG, it suddenly shows up. Yeah, which is a pain in the patoot. There we go. That's what I wanted. I think those are the only things I need here. Yeah. Although I will say, like, it's worth it because, like, it's worth doing the work when necessary because the resolution of the images is still great. Yeah, so it's a much clearer.
Good resource.
Rather than like going to a 40K wiki and trying to snag something there because they're often in a smaller
resolution.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, I got what I needed here.
I was getting nervous going to wikis, thinking I'm going to get some kind of bug.
Yeah, fair enough.
Feels like Napster when you go on a wiki. I'm just going to download this song. It's like, oh, wait a second. Why is this executable going? Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is why I have, like, every fucking month I have some new, spam filter, training I have to do at work.
This is how we do it. .exe. What? Thought it was Montel Jordan, and now I've got a worm going through my computer.
I think if you're trying to get Montel Jordan stuff, that's sort of, you brought that on yourself. So this, guys, is the image that I've just made the big production over. But look how cool that is.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that's a cool scene.
Yeah.
I want a red cybernetic eye too.
So here is one of the things I was going to mention.
I think we all do.
There is so the docks is the reason I brought the docks up is because the docks are a place where all sorts of Xenos end up finding places to work and live. It's one of the reasons why those the infected, those hybrids that you found, are able to conceal themselves among the dock workers because their blue skin and obviously, mutant or Xenos features are obscured. or at least they're drawing no more attention than others. One of the Xenos species that was there, it seems a local faction of theirs is, when word broke about House Aquare becoming the defeating a potential infection by the gene stealers and thereby potentially the Tyranids from coming here, the Great Hungerer, you were, it would have been Ignatius. So Jeff, your character, Ignatius would have been approached by a sentient whose name is Daok. Daok is a member of the Xenos species, the Kroot. The Kroot are an unusual species that typically is, at least in Imperial space, is often associated with another Xenos species, a more expansionist species called the Tau. But the Tau are actually a separate species. The Kroot think well of the Tau because they liberated the Kroot homeworld from an orc invasion. And as such, it's not unusual to find Kroot within the Tau military as auxiliaries. They aren't, however, only associated with the Tau. And now that they've been traveling throughout the galaxy, they can be found in a lot of different places going about their own business. Do any of you guys have lore in Xenos?
Well,
Lord,
Xenos.
Yeah.
To what extent do you want it to?
Yes, I do.
This would
Forbidden
be
lore. Xenos?
forbidden lore. Yeah.
Yes, I do have forbidden lore.
Why don't you give us a forbidden lore Xenos at, let's say,
Doesn't let us
routine,
pick.
please.
It just gives us a modifier 0 input value.
It doesn't. Are you
It
able
doesn't give you the
to?
challenge rating.
Oh, okay, plus 20.
Oops, I just flat out.
No, that's great, Godwin. Holy smokes.
So that'd be
How
a
do
40,
you...
48.
there. Oh, okay.
Plus 20 would be 2 extra degrees of
Nice.
success.
That's 4 degrees of success.
Wait, what do you say? Put in for the modifier?
20.
20?
Yeah, no plus sign. Otherwise, you guys are back into the warp.
Okay.
3 degrees of success. Pretty fucking good. So there is something, and I know it's your characters you're rolling for, not for Ignatius, but if Ignatius consults with Alessander as as with the rest of the crew, if you guys are going back and forth through the astropathic choir, you would find Daok, this Kroot mercenary, it seems, wants to sign on with House Aquare. They claim they are mercenaries and would be of great value for the enemy of the Great Devourer. And if Ignatius consults with members of the crew, Alessander rolled, so it's 4 degrees of success for, actually, and Godwin. So between the two of you guys actually have a fair bit of insight into the Kroot. We're not going to get too much into them, but one of the things that is a unusual species trait of the Kroot is adaptive evolution. And it is driven through the consumption of things. The Kroot, when you encounter them, you will notice that the Kroot have at least the auxiliaries that are deployed as part of the Tau army. They have the Kroot, which are like what you see in the illustration. There are Kroot hounds, which look similar with the same jaws and facial features, but they're bipeds and they're dogs. There are Krootoks, which are like giant, kind of ogre-sized things. And also, like, they seem to walk on all fours almost. There are Kroot wings, I believe they're called, which are like winged things as well. And at a glance, you'd be like, okay, these are all things that sort of evolved around the same species, or same planet, and may just be similar that they've domesticated. But the fact is each of them represent evolutionary traits that have changed when they have consumed a species and inadvertently adopted aspects of that species that they did not intend. Kroot can consume things and gain the traits of them. It's almost like a super version of the one of the glands that the Space Marines have, where they can consume flesh or organs or whatnot, and like learn knowledge or whatnot from their defeated foes. The Kroot are with a roll that good. So the Kroot hounds, for instance, are actually Kroot that have devolved or taken a route where they gain different characteristics of like a canine, but lost their intellectual capacity. Ditto for the Krootox. Same thing for the Krootwings. These are all things that are Kroot who have eaten something they probably shouldn't have eaten, and then just remained and bred true. So while you may see a lot of similarities to the way that the Tyranids develop, because they are also a evolutionary, biological construct, there are specific things that the Kroot are forbidden from eating. And one of them is the Tyranids, because they see them as absolutely anathema to a fundamental part of their existence. Not for nothing, they also are forbidden from consuming Tau, because the Tau saved their homeworld from orcs. There's a third species that they can't, that they refuse to consume. I don't remember what it is offhand. It's not humans, though. They will eat humans. So.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe we don't want them eating orc because we don't want them getting super aggressive.
They are, like, they do not see the consumption of sentient species to be anathema whatsoever. It is a core part of their understanding. However, knowing for whatever reason, Diok embraces, and his band seem to embrace the idea of the Hungerer being a greater threat to this. And while obviously, for obvious reasons, the certain factions of the Inquisition are unlikely to call on Kroot mercenaries for assistance, for obvious reasons, because they're fucking Xenos. But rogue traders who happen to want to hunt down gene stealers. One other thing you have heard, Godwin, they can tell with a taste of flesh or blood whether someone is infected with gene stealer genetics.
Oh, goodness.
So there is a small mercenary band of Kroot on Footfall who are interested in throwing their lot in with you, because they see you as enemies of the Great Hunger.
Oh, my goodness. That just feels wrong.
The Xenos are rarely good. They are extremely effective combatants, and they would fill out a certain percentage of your crew once again.
Yes.
But what would that do for the morale of the rest of the crew, knowing that?
The morale of the rest of the crew with Xenos things. Let me see if there's any rules. I don't think there is any impact for it, but I will see, because it is not unusual to have Xenos.
Jeff thinks it's fun to have Xenos on the ship. Well,
and also, like, rules is written, while the core book doesn't have them, they have orc freebooters. They have, in the expansion book, they've got one of the supplements, they've got the Dark Eldar. There's also a fan-made product for the Eldar, and there's an official source book or supplement for playing Tau Explorers. So, like, having Xenos on the crew in Rogue Trader is not unthinkable as far as the setup for the campaign is concerned. Also, guys, in the player's guide, so the Explorer's Handbook, Into the Storm, there's rules for playing Kroot Explorers.
Cool.
Feeding your enemy.
What about our twist catcher, Brother Echo? He's a mutant hunter, but he'd be okay with Xenos?
Mutants are different from Xenos.
Yeah.
The chaos.
This is a Xenos that mutates into other species, though.
Details.
We won't tell him about the Crooch.
So it is not something that you necessarily have to take up, but they are someone that seems in the time since once word gets around that you guys were responsible for that, and seemingly they heard about the reputation. Someone seems to have been spreading the reputation of the Aquare as foes of Chaos and Xenos threats. Diok does not seem to recognize that you may view him as a Xenos threat, and is more interested in, like, you are enemies of the Great Hunger, and therefore potential allies for them.
Right.
So that is one opportunity that has presented itself.
Cool.
As far as the cold trade is concerned, so we can look into that. Anything else, you guys? Let me go through the example undertakings here. They're not called undertakings, they're called something else, but until I find that. Let's see here. Where is it?
I had to look up what the cold trade was. Cool.
Yeah, the trade in dead Xenos artifacts. Like from a dead species. There's tons of them in the in this part of the Endeavors, as I'm thinking of. In this part of the galaxy. Let's see here. Okay. So other things you could do. You could broker peace between power blocks. You could try and increase your influence among the factions on Footfall. You could sabotage a rival trade dynasty. You could arrange for survey missions, even though you don't have your ship. Convert the heathen. You could throw yourself in with the acolytes of Hephaestium's Rest.
We could take up residence in the macro statue.
You could. You could definitely eliminate the Xenos in a cluster. And what other ones? So those are some ideas. Those are just ones they have in there. 6 months is a fair bit of time, and I think what we'll do to keep it to fill in the gap of what's happened on Footfall before we bring these characters together is we'll do some random events as well.
Lord Captain, if we're communicating with your brethren, would it not make sense if Bell gets back before us to hinder him in some way that he can't, advance his stature? Or
what do we know? We knew we were competing with him on the righteous path.
Yeah.
And did we
got the
how
equivalent.
exactly did that end? That whole
You guys tricked him into going onto the righteous path after the reactor failed and released a bunch of Necron who seemed to be held in stasis at some point in the center of the ship. The righteous path seemingly blew up, but it appears as if Haderach Fell has survived that somehow.
Probably not happy with us.
I assume by blowing a fate point.
right.
He's going to be
Gotcha.
out to get us. Might as well get him first.
I mean, he's definitely out to get us.
I mean, I think along with roadmap of the cold trade on Footfall, to keep your ear to the ground for Fell and what he's up to. I think A lot of these things, if we get some roadmaps, each of them, just to be able to get a good briefing. We've been gone a long time on where these things stand, so we can have a leg up on deciding some kind of action upon arrival.
Yeah. So I'll assume that the the skills that we'll be rolling with are a 50 to start with. What you can do is let's do each. Let's treat this as it's not called an extended test in this game. It's called something else. It is called. Where is it? Oh, it's called an extended test. It's not called an extended test. It's called a no. It's called extended precisely test. That. Yeah. It's exactly that. All right. So in the GM section, I think it had the guidance on how to set the difficulty or the length for those things. Well, good news, guys. I found the corruption track. So good.
Thank heavens.
Yeah. Oh, they said, "Hey, Kevin," and I'm like, "Yes."
I think he said, "Good heavens."
Good heavens. Yeah, no, it registered afterwards. So, like, yesterday, I've been very overtired this week, and my sister. I think you guys know this. My sister's a lesbian. I was talking to her yesterday about something, and we were talking. I can't remember what we were talking about. It was something in the context of like it was a drag show she wants to for me to go to when she's in because she lives in BC right now. So she's like, "Oh, come out, we'll go to this. It'll be a lot of fun." I'm like, "Awesome, that sounds great." And she started thinking, like, "Yeah. When you come out," and I start killing myself laughing because I thought she's like, "Oh, you'll just eventually come out, Kev."
Right.
So I'm laughing away, and she just keeps on talking, and I'm like, "Oh fuck! Like you don't even realize what he said." So,
right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we all know your true love, Kevin. It's gaming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's really like family, dogs, gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Although my sister, as she put it better, she's like, we both just have terrible taste in women. So we appreciate having that in common.
Family trait.
Yeah. Jeff, I think, is the only one who has met some of my exes, and I think that he can safely confirm that is the case.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No comment. They could be fans of the channel. I don't know.
Oh, what if? What if they stalk you
I
on here?
really done that.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Exploration challenges. I got it, guys. No problem. All right, so which of the tasks would you like? We have 6 months worth of time, and obviously you're going to be doing different things, but I'm just going to say that one of them is substantially being pushed forward each month. So which of those two? There's the sabotaging Fells operation. There's developing the cold trade, which I take it to mean like learning about opportunities in the cold trade. What other
and the players. Who are the players?
Oh, yeah, and getting the lay of the land. Okay, so lay of the land is probably going to be a. Oh yeah, I can multiply it. So here's what we're going to do too, guys, to make it more interesting. We're also going to allow you to draw on any of your characters you played back on Footfall. So you guys have Sean. You have that. Member of the what do they call the death something or other,
got you now.
Dr. Klaus is yours.
Yeah.
Eternal Klaus.
Eternal gas masks.
Yep. Krieg Deathcore. Krieg Deathcore. And this is probably something you may have known already. You know where the Krieg Deathcore comes from? Is that Forge World thing. When Forge World in the late 90s, early 2000s started putting out their own stuff to augment, like supplement, stuff. The Krieg Deathcore comes from their stuff, their products. Huh. Yeah, third-party thing, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
So anyway, Dr. Klaus, I remember so you got the Krieg Death Corps medic, and you've got Icarus, the charismatic psychic. Jeff, you have both Ignatius Aquare, and you have Noros, the armsman. And Dave, you have Archon the Unseen, and the Eldar Corsair, and Explorator Zarkov. The... Oh, no, wait. No, I don't want to edit this. What do I want to do? I'll do this here. There you go. The Explorator. Whoop. God damn it.
Do the sheets actually have their skills on them?
They do not.
Oh, okay. So we're just gonna. Oh, you said we're rolling against 50. Doesn't matter really what.
Yeah,
we
we're going to assume their skills are 50. I think between now and then I'll bang together conversions of the characters, and then you guys can make changes. I think some of them should be higher level than just starting characters. I don't know if we're necessarily going to play them, and if we do end up playing as those characters at some point, we have other games where they're already created and you guys have spent XP and stuff, so we'd probably do that. But for these ways where you're just calling on them, I think the overall competence will start at 55, and then depending on things. The other thing to recall is you can spend profit factor on a 1-for-1 basis to gain +5 for each profit factor spent to affect your starting skill.
Cool.
So yeah, so I'm assuming that's going to be the one of the things you'll be pulling on. They probably have skills that are much better than 50, but this is going to kind of reflect if your average crew member has a 30 right now on your ship, that 20% makes them much more competent, and then circumstances and influence of the Aquare is a way you can increase your chances on these, while also reflecting the fact that you're having to kind of draw on some of the influence and resources of House Aquare in order to affect those changes while the Mortis Probati is away.
Can we change the profit factor on the ship page to 6? Godwin just spent 50 profit factor improving all his stuff, and now he is going into demigod.
I should mention it is on for 1 roll. Yeah. You guys may want to have a conversation with your Master of Whispers here, because it does seem as if he has emptied the bank. So then,
Thinking about it.
We're going to have. So, what is the task you think you're working on in that first month? And you can work on multiple tasks among the multiple characters. I'm going to set the difficulty based on there's 3 of you guys, so it'll be a number of successes based on 3, but some of them will be easier to complete than others. So what do you think? The 3 tasks were get the lay of the land. Lay of the land, I think, will be a 6 successes total. So 6 degrees of success needed. Learning of the cold trade will be 9. And
what was the first one? Was lay of the land for what? For
factions. Just to get an idea of other factions that might be available, to at least make tentative contact with them.
On footfall.
Yeah, on footfall. Yeah. And then the final one would be sabotaging Fell's operation. That'll be 12 successes. So we have 6 months, and we have a bunch of... You know what? I'm actually going to make that 24. Because I'm judging for the number of rolls you guys are going to make, and the number of people who are rolling, and how many times you can do this. So the
24 cold for Fell.
24 for Fell, 18 for the cold trade, and lay of the land will make it 9. So 9, 18, 24.
And it's the success levels subtract from it.
Exactly. Correct? So whatever, and it's the difference between the 2, I think, in this game. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's the difference between the 2.
Right. So if you roll a 50, it's -0. a 40 is -1.
But you can spend profit factor to increase that skill, right? So, who has a, in that first month, who has a, and I'll also put down number 1 to 6 here. And then at the end of this, we'll have the Mortis Vibrati back at Footfall. So, first month, which of your characters is doing what to try and pursue which of the 3 goals?
Archon, the Unseen, will do something to consult with his faction.
To get the lay of the land?
To help get the lay of the land.
You got it. You want to roll against 50, or are you spending any profit factor to increase his skill?
I will consult the crew for a moment. Do we have any guidelines on how you guys want to do this? Like, I don't want to spend all our profit factor in one night on a bunch of rolls, but some of this might be useful. I don't know. Because if we're each going to do, 20 rolls, and a third of the time we spend profit factor, that's like spending 18 profit factor. Like, that's a lot.
That is a lot. I think we start spending profit factor near the end of the 6 months to achieve the ones that we're close on.
That's a good idea.
That's what I think we do.
See how the dice roll initially?
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you as well, achieving these goals are going to give you...
additional profit factor.
They may lead to additional profit factor as well, especially if you do them particularly well. So
like lay of the land could yield really strong contacts, which could help the ship when we get back and improve our profit factor. Sabotaging fell, same kind of thing, I would think.
All right.
And sorry, what was the middle one? The 18?
learning the cold trade.
Oh, the cold trade. Lay of the land 9, cold trade 18. Sabotage 24. Yeah. Perfect.
24 for Bell?
Yeah, 24 for sabotaging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we have them in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do Lay of the Land. I'm not going to do any buying at this time around. I'm just going to roll it straight up and see how it goes.
Okay. I'm reminding myself. There's no criticals in this. Like doubles and whatnot. They don't trigger anything.
Just like a 1 or a 0, double 0? Or
even those, there's no... It affects the degrees of success, but I couldn't find anything. Critical hits happen when that vernacular is used to describe what happens when you suffer like injuries, critical injuries.
So we want low.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 4.
Ooh.
So far towards the lay of the
it.
land. So Archon has been asking around, probably more in the what do you call it? Amongst some of the Xenos factions. Although it's said that there's plenty of rogue traders who ally themselves with members of the Twilight Swords. So, or at least.
That's what I was thinking initially, was like he's already a member of a faction who probably sells their services to multiple other factions. So there's probably some good connections there to utilize now that he's connected to the Aquari.
Good stuff. So Archon has gone. Which of you guys would like to go next?
I can go. I have an idea. I think that Noros is going to start by hitting Fell's men a little, intimidating them, soften them up, sort of get to see how tough his underbelly is after returning from his adventure.
So there's that bar on in the Shadow Quarters in the Martyrs in Endurance called the what is it? The not Ars Amasek. But it's something like that. Actually, I've got the thing here.
So here we go.
Maybe he's bumping up against them.
Yeah. He's going to roll.
First place. Adeptus Amasek. Nice. That's 3.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, they're not invincible.
So that'll be 3 degrees of success towards sabotaging Fel.
Do you have
And
trackers or anything, Kev?
sorry,
Do you have a tracker or anything?
I'm keeping track of it myself. But what I could do is here. Let me do this, guys. I have an
3
idea.
color bars on the.
Yeah, I'll put something on here. I can get you a token here, and I actually have something that will be footfall. Here you go, guys. Boom. Here is footfall. And what's that in the foreground there, guys? It does look like a
Macro
statue.
That is correct. That is definitely what I see there. All right, so I'm going to put you guys, you'll all have editing rights over this. There we go.
3 bars, one of them is 9, one of them is 18, one is 24.
Yeah, so what I'll do is 3 successes towards that, 0 towards that, and 4 towards that. You guys can all see the numbers and whatnot on the token?
Yeah, no numbers.
Oh, you know
Bars,
what?
but no numbers.
Oh, I know why. Hold up. Boom. How about now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Then, Captain, which of your 2 do you think is going to...
I think. What's the name of my doctor? You recall?
Dr. Klaus.
I think Dr. Klaus will use his knowledge. Will use his medical abilities to try to figure out, offering through those contacts, through that world. He'll try to get the lay of the land for footfall. He'll focus on.
Absolutely. So a little outreach. Never a bad thing. Do you want to spend any profit factor, or are you rolling against 50?
We're holding off, right, gentlemen? We're going to wait till we see what's...
Sure.
We're due for a high number, though.
We are.
Easy, Dave. Easy.
Roll 20 is due for a high number, so you might want to spend some profit factor.
No profit factor at this time.
Okay.
Okay. That is 1 more towards
Not a high number.
lay of the land.
Not a high number.
So
Under no definition is that a high number.
okay. Then wood, and I'll do this. You guys will each get a pass at this. So do not actually. You'll technically get 2 passes at this. But let's start with Captain Aquare. Would you kindly give us a percentile roll? Look, there's that corruption section again.
Corruption. Let's get some malignant tumors going.
73, eh? Let's see here.
Getting that higher number out of the way.
Yeah. Well, on your corruption rolls.
On your corruption rolls.
All right, this is
They're
not...
highly successful, but the characters are all corrupted.
Indeed.
Okay, here we go. 73? Oh my. Would you, Captain, give us another percentile roll? 45. So during during this month, word comes that a grand assemblage of the Omnissiah's grace is called by an Archmagos, and all tech adepts pledged to House Aquare are much withdrawn, the machine cult distant from what its magi perceive as trivial responsibilities towards compacts and imperial brethren. You lose 2 profit factor due to misfortune. So, month 1, however, is over, and you have made some headway. Now, probably what I'll do this time is let's roll the misfortune and chance of misfortune first, because you can dedicate one of your agents to try and forestall this. Okay? So, Jeffrey, would you kindly give us a percentile roll?
Yes.
Also, Kev likes this chart he's looking at.
It's a fun chart. 41. Fate smiles upon the road trader. No misfortune. So, what are you guys doing with the second month?
Okay.
Godwin, you want to take it up again? Do I keep going in order?
Sure. I think Explorator Zarkov is going to try and help us finish the lay of the land.
Okay. While he's conversing with his fellow members of the Adeptus Mechanicus, that may be a useful thing.
Yes. While everyone is together, he sees an opportunity to gather information.
Yeah. Did someone reduce the profit factor too? I didn't do it myself.
I did not.
Okay.
It's on the Mortis Probati page?
It is, yeah. On the Mortis Probati skills page under advanced skills.
Okay.
And while you are there, do you wish to draw on any profit factor to modify your chances?
You know what? I think the Explorators are not as easy to deal with as some other factions. So Zarkov is going to grease some palms.
How much are you spending? Each point gives +5.
5%?
5%, yeah, +5 to your roll. Or to your skill for the roll.
Sorry, what was the... Under the skills?
Yeah.
So what was I subtracting before? 2?
Subtracting 2 before, yes.
Okay, so down to 54. And then I'll expend another 2.
Was the profit factor at 56?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, shit. For some reason, I thought it was higher. I'm not judging it. I think I'm confusing it with the morale. I had in my head that it had like a 91. I'm like, you guys got plenty to fucking burn. Come on, guys. Don't be such... Oh, you only have...
Oh, yeah.
No, that's why we're being careful.
Yep. Smart tactic. So how much would you care to spend?
He spent 2 points.
2
So
more?
plus 10%.
Okay.
And I will roll my D100 now.
Yep. So this will be against a 60. So it's 2 more. That brings you to 7 for the lay of the land. It seems as if getting... I mean, that's not... No, that's a good... I mean, that's a good progress. So that's not nothing. I don't want to undercut that. Jeffrey.
Yeah. I think that I want to ensure we get something done here. I think that shoot, what's this? Ignatius?
Ignatius Aquare.
Ignatius will help, get the lay of the land going. I mean, it's kind of his job. It's kind of why he was left here. And so he's going to contribute to that this month. Maybe he's been working on a large project to really get a foothold in with some of the... Come on. Oh,
Yes. One more. Okay.
Dang it.
And then Sean. What are you guys doing?
Icarus is going to pitch in with Dr. Klaus going the medical route. Icarus will be going the warp route to help fill in some gaps on what is happening on Footfall.
There is, I believe, that place called the Well of Echoes, or the Well
Yes.
of Voices, that had a bunch of psychers in it.
He'll probably go and get rejected by his future ex-girlfriend first to see if she
Tasuna?
wants to go. Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. Do you wish to spend any profit factor?
Ex-girlfriend.
Man, now that Godwin's opened up the well, I mean, I don't know. Sure, I'll go for a couple.
Okay, so 2.
Okay, let's see. At the probati.
I'll just take it off. I'm already on the sheet.
Okay, you could.
Okay,
50
so it's a 60, 60, and this is towards getting you lay the land.
Yes.
Go ahead and give us your roll.
No bueno.
It does seem that she is proving very challenging to find this
Tough
month.
nut to crack.
Yeah. She keeps talking in these abstract kind of oracular terms, so trying to get something concrete out of her just is not of value. Fortunately, like rolling over doesn't increase the difficulty. It just means you don't make any progress.
He kind of digs it too. He's like, he likes it.
He does strike me as a masochist. So
Yeah.
all right, then that brings us to the end of that month. Let's roll for misfortune first, and then we'll take our mid-session break. So, Dave, would you kindly give us a D100 roll, please?
I'm rolling weather? Okay.
Yeah, you're rolling weather, basically. 28. Another month without misfortune, guys. Congratulations. So consider, this is month 3 now. We'll take our mid-session break and then consider what you wish to do with your various agents. And then maybe what I'll do when I get back, because it might be fun to have, faces to names on these things. And I'm pretty sure I've got tokens for all these characters lurking somewhere. So for the folks listening at home who may not have watched the war stories, they can at least see who we're talking about when we're talking about these characters. Let's see. What did I do? This one?
Back in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just fucking around with something here. For those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. There we go. Well, I will be going in a moment, but for now, let me get these other tokens. So it's set up here. Come here. There we go. There he is. One of his characters. Tavia is James's character. So where is Zarkov? There we are. And Archon the Unseen. There we go. I'll probably get rid of those oopsies. Bars as well. And then let's see, get that done. for those listening at home, I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. And those who may be joining us from Canada, I hope that your Thanksgiving weekend is off to a great start, because it is Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. Which is to say we drizzle our gooses in maple syrup. No, it's not true, but there we go. And there's Dr. Klaus. You can see. There we are. And Alessander and Ignatius, right? These guys, whoopsies. Over Scooch here. Godwin and Ignatius. There we are. Okay. Move him over as well. And there we go. Let's make sure y'all can see it. Yep. And then let's maybe make this a little smaller. Oops. A little smaller. There we go. And I move these down for now. Try to make that easier to see. There we go. All right, so those listening at home, I'll be back just in a moment. I won't be 5 minutes. All right. Sorry, I was getting these set up for you. This, I imagine, is going to be more helpful for you remembering which characters you have access to, right?
Oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, great.
I had opened up the character sheets and then double-clicked on them just to So I had the names on my. This is better.
Awesome. And hopefully for the folks at home too, this will help keep track of our extended cast. So then we are on to month number 3 now. Another month without any incident. Who would like to start?
I think I'm going to go back to Archon. Not that I'm necessarily going to alternate, but I feel like Archon wants to, having found some success in the lay of the land, feels like he needs to be more effective. And he wants to go after House Fell.
The Twilight Swords are notorious pirates, so preying on Fell's interests.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Okay. Are you spending any profit factor?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 2.
There we go. That door has been opened.
And he's like, I can do this on my own, but I can do this with help a lot better.
Okay. So then, let's see here. Okay, down to 48. So you're rolling against a 60. 60. Go ahead and make your roll. Nice. So that's 5 degrees of success. Wow.
Yeah, maybe we should have Dave do our rolling for us.
Sean, I see you've never played in a game where Dave is rolling weather for us now. So we've had back-to-back like tornadoes.
Yeah, we've had soul
goodness.
screamings, winter storms. Yeah.
It was, I mean, like incredibly fun. As a DM, like we get to see results on tables that I rarely get to see, so they're great. That's incredible. 5 degrees of success towards us. So, what do you think that the Twilight Swords are doing? Is it like elsewhere in the Expanse that they're having them prey on them, or what?
Yeah, I think Bell sends some crew off to negotiate some deal. Maybe he's doing some cold trade or something like that, and the swords just mess everything up and maybe get some Fell people injured, and the deal goes sideways and they lose a bunch of money, and yeah.
That's incredible. All right, so eventful month. Let's see here. An attack on Fell by Twilight Swords. All right, next up. Jeffrey, Sean?
Well, Ignatius feels he must complete getting the lay of the land here. His, cousin will be very disappointed in him if he does not complete this, and bring shame on the house. And so he will.
He's spending profit factor?
Does he spend profit factor to ensure success? No, he's confident in his skills.
Okay.
He's got it. He's got this.
He's in a quarry. Come on.
And he's been working on this deal for 3 months.
Yeah.
He's got it. Yes.
Yes, and there's your 1. So that is all you needed to get the late. Oh, what is going on here? Nope.
That's so funny. He barely makes it.
Oh, there you go. You put it in. That's why. I was trying to figure out. I hit the plus sign and then something I was zooming in. I'm like, why the fuck? It's because I think you must have added the 1 to it, and then it bumped me out. So when I hit plus, it was just the zoom feature as opposed to.
Sorry, Kev.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fine. That's if you guys are doing it, that's fine. You guys go right ahead. All right. So let me tell you how much you're going to get for profit factor, then, guys.
Oh,
because getting the lay of the land, that is a lesser.
Yeah, it was
endeavor, I think.
The easier one.
Yep. So then the guys plus 2 profit factor. The Aquare are expanding their presence. Next,
back up to 50.
Yep, back up to 50. Okay, and then finally, Sean, who is going to be working on what task?
I think Icarus is now mesmerized and continues to grind on. Oh, so we've already got. Well, we're totally done with the 1, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, lay of the land is done, and we just got 2 profit factor from it.
So he is going to.
Yeah, we have to decide if we want to focus fire here on the destroying.
Right.
Take out House Fell, and then see if we can work on the other one.
Or ask, yeah. The last one is that there will also next month you can add another task if you choose. Like for instance, trying to build up your relationship with one of the available factions.
Cool.
Just getting to the endeavors. I think it's actually at the
So we're
start.
thinking fell, huh?
Yeah, I think so. We're already a third of the way there.
All right. He will endeavor to. I mean, given that Fell lost his primary psyker, Icarus is going to try to focus on a bit of that mayhem to see what he can figure out.
Sure. By that, are you spending any profit factor?
He is recklessly spending 2 profit factor.
Down to 40.
Love it.
There
Nice.
we go.
That is 4, so you can add 4 to that. And it is just sussing out the ranks of his other sanctioned psychers and astropaths.
Uh-huh.
Nice. Then let's see here. Next will be month 4. How does our captain, our Void Master, and our Seneschal feel about the actions of your underlings in those first 3 months?
He's solid.
Master Whisper approves.
Nice.
That's some good production.
Yeah.
There weren't many missed rolls there. There was a minimum of
Oh, you guys did really
Alessandro
well.
is very impressed. He, honestly thought a little less of the Aquares after this mission. He wasn't so sure on the Lord Captain. He doesn't show his, disappointment, but he is shocked at the effectiveness that they're having in football.
So, do you
Do we
wish?
Reverse order on the misfortune so that Captain Aquare is last?
Oh, you want to? Yeah, go like up and then down. Sure, it works for me
Yeah.
if you guys want to do that.
What do you think?
Then let me ask you this, guys: do you wish to add any
Sure.
new goals? Like, for instance, trying to curry favor with any of the available factions. The factions you have met thus far, or that you have, are on that influence one. But let me tell you about some others. That can also be to try and improve an otherwise poor reputation. Right now,
True.
House Blitz. So here you go.
Oh, I just put him in chat.
Oh, did you? Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So House Blitz you're doing well with. The Astral Knives you're doing well with. The Twilight Swords you're doing well with. The Drusians, those religious fanatics, you're doing well with. Casbolica, you're at a base level. You are not increasing with House Fel. And in fact, I think you guys have already reached halfway. We can safely make that worse. The Nightbleeders are not fans. And Addersola Ket seems not a fan. Other factions, there's the Black Brotherhood, that gang that is in service to the what do you call it? To the Casbolica. There is the Liege of Footfall. There are let's see here, Obsidian Emporium, which is run by mysterious intercessors who are like information brokers. There are to the Tutors, who are flesh shapers and slave vendors. There are heretics called the True Path. There are evil cults on the planet, or on Footfall. There are let's see.
Last one, Kev?
The last one, cults, dark cults, chaos cults. If you want to find representatives of the Ruinous Powers, you can go there. There are also other rogue trader dynasties. Other dynasties present that you have yet to have dealings with include. Let me see here. Here we go. House Garrett, House Armelon, House Bastille, House Lee, House Scourge, and House Feckward.
I got 2. House Garrett, House Armelon.
House Garrett, House Armelon, House Bastille, House Lee, and House Scourge. Let's see here. Oh, and House Feckward.
Okay.
I can tell you, Feckward has a reputation for contacts with the underworld. House Scourge has a reputation for war and destruction. House Lee has a reputation for wealth, phenomenal wealth that comes from trade. House Bastille comes from strong connections to the Imperial Navy. House Armelon is a house in a rebuilding stage. Their house was nearly eliminated by an orc invasion in their home system. House Garrett. Oh, Garrett is actually of House Arcadius, an ancient clan of rogue traders. Very powerful elsewhere, but new here. So, do you wish to seek out any new factions, or just focus on the 2 other things you've got, expanding or gaining information about the cold trade, and or trying to defeat or thwart House Fell?
Captain, what do you think? Lord Captain.
Uh,
I'll just hit save changes in the House Aquari Influence guide. I've added all of those.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Very nice.
I was putting them in the chat, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to copy these anyways. I might as well put them in the influence page. Rogue Trader House Garrett. I don't know if I spelled them all right. But
Yeah, no, you actually, almost, Feckward is the only Feckward. Otherwise, you nailed all the rest of them.
let's see. Well, perhaps Armelon and Arcadius could be easier. They might be easier marks because they're dealing with their own situations. We'll throw that out there.
As in, like, improving our status with them and becoming allies.
Right. Easier entrees there, perhaps, rather than someone else that'd be coming from a position of stronger position.
Well, and you got to think about our connections too. So what have people heard about your house, Lord Captain Aquari? We've been dealing with gene stealers, and so, like, what kind of benefit does that bring us with other houses, perhaps?
Could help with the local liege. That could make it easier with the liege of footfall, given our good works.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps there's no one.
You might be right about Armelon. You know, if they were nearly eliminated by orcs, they would understand what a scourge an enemy could be to a house or a system. So, our actions against the gene stealers might be,
More appreciated.
appreciated because, hey, you know what? We're trying to get our feet. The last thing we need is another entity to come along and destroy it all.
Maybe a particularly easy mark for ally ship.
So do you want to do something with Armala?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Did you guys lose Jeff?
Yeah, I lost Jeff as well.
Can you hear us, Jeff?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Lost your video.
Yeah, we just lost your video.
This video.
Oh,
Jeff's back.
We have that, the golem. Is that Karn? Is that character's name? Karn the golem?
Oh yeah, Karn.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So then we'll clear it. This one is going to be likewise an relatively easy task to perform, and you will, whatever progress you make towards it, if you don't conclude it by the time you get back, that is something you can also pursue while you are, while you're pursuing other goals back on Footfall. So, but first, guys, for this month number 4, let me grab the greatest table made to. Hold on. Dave, would you give us a percentile roll, please? Okay. And would you give us another percentile roll, please?
Yeah.
15, eh? Ooh. A setback in the tending of coffers. Ledgers are errant and thrones are lost. Is this a careless accident or hidden embezzlement? Lose 1 profit factor. You could task someone to try to thwart that. That would be their action for the month to avoid the misfortune. What do you guys think? You take the hit, or?
Yeah, I don't personally think that 1 profit factor is losable without too much
Yeah.
worry.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Then, what are our agents doing this month?
Archon. No. Explorator's Archov. He's going to use his Mechanicum contacts to try and thwart House Fell in a attempt to sabotage some of their equipment. And let's see how this goes.
Okay. Are you spending any profit factor?
No, I'm going to go straight up.
Straight up. All right. So it's against 50. 5-0. Let's see how this goes. Whoa. 5 progress.
Friday nights are right for fighting.
Hell yes. 5. So you can add 5 to the red bar.
Ooh.
It's huge progress. So there is cascading the machine spirits animating the House Fell cogitators and other busy machines are all malfunctioning thanks to Zarkov's influence and his fellow. Perhaps he whispered some, malevolent prayer into one of the explorators in service to House Fell, who brought it back and infected the fellow machine spirits. Oof. Well struck, Zarkov.
Very nice.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think that Ignatius is going to try to raise our what's the stat called? The loyalty, the friendship,
Our favor with House
favor.
Armalon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should go for House Armalon.
Okay.
Yep, get it started.
Sure.
Okay.
Seems like his job around here is make friends.
Would you like to spend any profit factor?
Yeah, let's spend a little bit of profit factor. Let's spend 2 profit factor because he's trying to make friends here.
Yep. Okay, so it's against a 60, 6-0.
Here we go.
Nice! 6 progress towards him. Holy smokes. Let me tell you a little bit about
No pressure, Sean.
your contact.
Seriously, it's gonna be hard to follow after those 2 rolls.
All right, so let's talk about the rogue captain, rogue trader, Lord Captain is Madame Charlebel Armelon. What you have learned is she is the daughter of Lord Captain Armelon, whose fortunes were dashed when the orc invasion overwhelmed his clan's home system of Adriani Spinward. Armelon threw himself and the fortunes of his house into the war efforts, knowing that if he did not, the bulk of his interests would be lost and centuries of tradition and honor defiled. Unfortunately, Armelon's actions were as rash as honorable, and all save a handful of his vessels were destroyed as the orc fleet crushed his system's defenses.
Wow.
House Armelon was left with a single warp-capable transport, the Grace of Sofa, and a dozen or so intersystem vessels. Madame Charlebel is the sole hope of House Armelon at this point. She has come to the Cronus Expanse to seek some remedy to the dire straits of her house. Unable to draw on the resources other rogue traders can, she has employed the services of a large band of Kroot mercenaries to aid her in whatever travails await.
Oh.
And she, let's see here, I've got to get these individual things, but if you want to get a picture, that's what she looks like.
And those were the same mercenaries that are interested in our house?
No, this is a separate. There are different. She has Kroot mercenaries brought from elsewhere because she came from elsewhere into the Cronus Expanse. The what's his name, Drakan or something like that. Where is it?
But
Here?
it's the
same race. Yeah.
Same species, correct? Yeah, but like a different different faction of Kroot.
Dayak? Is that how you pronounce it? Dayak, him?
I think so. Dayak, yeah.
D-A-Y, yeah.
I mean, it's Kroot, so really it's whatever we want to say. There's not a wrong.
True.
I'm sorry, Sean. You know, clearly you grew up in a colony of Kroot things because that's the way.
That's the different region of Kroots. They don't. The other
exactly.
One doesn't.
It's like Quebecois French versus Parisian French.
spoken by a Manitoba Prairie guy.
Yeah, exactly. Or the New Brunswick French. So what? What you can add is 6. Add 6, right? Because you're really Add 6 to the green bar. Massive development. What do you think? What's Ignatius's approach to Madame Charlebel?
Yeah. So. Yeah, what would be his approach? Like, sort of, aligned goals, shared goals would be sort of his typical approach to a new friendship like that. He would.
So one thing to point out, that is a commonality between the two of you. Each of your dynasties has but one ship in the Cronus Expanse.
Right.
One
so that's
capable ship, or
well, yeah, I mean she has those system ships in the family as well, but I don't know if she would have brought them with her.
Right. Yeah, so that sort of idea, right? Like, we're limited resources here. If we work together, we can get a good foothold here, so to speak, and further our families and sort of, 2 are better than 1 sort of philosophy, I think, is what he works on there.
Yeah, seems like you're definitely making some headway in that. All right. Then, Sean, who is doing what?
think initially Icarus thinks to himself and he needs a break off of her. Amrat? What's her name?
Adder Solacat.
Adder. Oh, that's right. Adder.
Adder Soul
So-
Cat, yeah.
He thinks to smooth talk. Madame Charlebel, but is fortunately headed off by Dr. Klaus. No.
Nine.
No. If the blind woman can't be charmed, then Madame Charlebel is not going to work out.
The more senses involved, the worse it is for you, Icarus.
Indeed.
At least I have the sense to wear a mask.
Indeed. So Dr. Klaus instead approaches her from a standpoint of offering medical attentions, given that there could possibly be long-term wounded in her situation with her clan.
And limited resources too, yeah. Like what was I going to say? Like remember the reason Dr. Klaus serves you, and likely he's not the only one, right? Like you guys can probably assume you've got a bunch of medics from the Death Corps of Krieg, and probably some other Death Corps Kriegers, because there's some debt that they owed to the Aquare dynasty at some point. So if you guys over the course of the campaign want to introduce other Death Corps members, we can do that because that's the precedent for the connection. But if it's only medical stuff, because we haven't talked other way, then you may have some of the finest medics among the, like, there is nobody who knows how to deal with poisons and radiation burns and all this other shit like the Death Corps, right?
And proper mask wearing, proper gas mask.
Oh yeah.
So he's offering a team of potential assistants to her efforts.
Yeah.
To try to shore up the alliance between them.
You got it. Is he expending any profit factor?
Currently at 45.
Spend 2. Now the lid's off.
Okay. We have not adjusted your profit factor, I think, to account for all the things you've done on this mission. So it's going to be seeing a big jump when you guys get back, just so you know.
All right.
I mean, big is relative, I guess, but...
That's 1, right? Is that... Oh, no, 60.
66. No. Yeah.
Right.
No. Fortunately, no critical fail, but no, unfortunately, that is accepted, but it doesn't seem to move the needle, at least towards a position of friendship with them. But...
He says, ungrateful bitch. He says under his mask.
Jesus. All right. Then we are on to month 5. Guys, so only 2 more months until the Modus Probati returns. So,
Kev, at what point, like, is this is after the events of the last side game we did? Like, so we've already liberated the macro statue at this point?
Yeah. Like all these 6 months are after the events. The events that happened in the Wrath and Glory one shot, or the Wrath and Glory adventure, and the Imperium Maledictum adventure, that was within that first 2.5 months that you guys spent in the warp.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then now you've contacted, and this has been what's been going on in those times afterwards. So you can call on any of the events that happened in either of those things.
Right, or just to say, this is affected by that or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game-wise, yeah.
Yeah, and there's also I guess next we get to do, speaking of which, Jeff, why don't you give us a percentile roll? Let's see if anything else of interest happens this month.
Of course.
The Lord Captain is only 1 month away from returning.
Oh, no, that feels like a bad number.
All right, let's see. Ooh. Would you give us another percentile roll, please?
Uh-oh, that's always bad. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh, this is interesting. In light of your progress last month, a rival's hatred for the rogue trader becomes well known, and many lesser figures prefer not to be involved with either side while such an enmity exists. Now, the rival has begun to strike openly against the rogue trader's interests. Lose 2 profit factor.
Whoa.
So, House Fell, it seems, will not go down without returning some blows. Now, you can assign one of your people to try and avoid that 2 profit factor loss, or you can take it on the chin and try and gain a new ally and get profit factor from that. So your profit factor should be down, to 41 now. Oof.
We could also try to finish off House Fell.
I mean, it won't hurt, like, prevent them. You will gain a windfall. But yeah, I see what you mean, though. Yeah,
I understand it won't get that profit factor back, but it will stop the overall fight.
Or it'll just diminish their strength in some way.
Yeah,
Well,
and
for
actually,
now, right. It's not like he's gone. It's just that it's like we win this battle essentially.
Right.
yeah, you position yourself better. And it would definitely, once you complete any of these endeavors, you will gain profit factor. The bigger the task, the bigger the reward.
Well, then Explorer Zarkov will take another turn at House Fell. Seeing their recent success has only emboldened him.
Okay. Are you expending any profit factor?
He looks to Ignatius. Like, or was it? Oh, maybe it wasn't Ignatius that he was traveling with. Was it Noros?
Exploit Zarkov?
Yeah,
Zarkov was with Noros, Icarus, and Lady Octavia.
Right. He kind of looks at Noros and Icarus. What do you think, guys?
They're hurting us in the pocketbook already.
Are we
What do
investing?
you think, Godwin?
Godwin thinks you should invest in the destruction of your enemies, Lord Captain.
All right.
Then make your move.
I will spend 3 profit factor.
Woo. 65 you're rolling against. Here we go. Oh, I will point out, so you succeeded here. Depending on how you're thinking of it, just increasing the chances of success. Remember, it's in increments of 10 that'll affect the success levels.
I just realized that too.
Yeah.
When I'm
Okay.
like, 65 doesn't really help me anymore than...
I mean, the chance of success does, but it doesn't increase the quality of the success. But that is 2 more. So it's 2 more. Zarkov and perhaps Lady Octavia, Noros, and Icarus have struck back. You can add 2 more to that red
knowing
bar.
it's in increments of 10, would have spent 3 or 2 or 4. Like,
Well, you already spent it and you already rolled, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so you got your
For
2.
your future guys, don't use odd numbers because it doesn't help you any.
Yeah. Okay, so that is 2 more towards us. You should be at 19 now. Jeffrey, Noros or Ignatius, you pursuing that new ally or punishing an old enemy?
I believe that it's Noros who's going to step forward and say if it's open war that Lord Fell wants, it's open war that he would get.
Okay, nice.
And
Any
I think
profit factor?
we're just gonna hit them right where they're stationed. Like, just try to like break their morale. Here we go. All out assault. Oh, they lose.
They were waiting for that, it seems.
Yeah, they
Nothing
would strike
came.
back. They
I do
knew
have
it.
some terrific news too, guys. I just found a table in Into the Storm where we can roll for the severity of failure. And we're not using that. So the consequences of failure on these tasks is not going to potentially incur more profit factor loss. So
That's good.
yeah, so it's good. Sometimes my failure to notice things benefits the party. Then Sean, what do you think? Is the war continuing against House Fell?
He's going to. I think Icarus has heard Dr. Klaus's under his mask curses and is going to and saw what he tried and try to follow up with the warp enabled of Madam Charlebel.
Okay, here we go. House Armeland, right?
Yeah.
Are you spending any profit factor?
We'll spend 2.
Okay. Nice.
There we go.
There you go.
A little something, something.
So that's another 2. You guys are just on the cusp of securing a new ally. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Then our final month, we're back to Sean. Would you give us a percentile roll?
There's probably a little trash talking between Icarus on that to Dr. Klaus, because Klaus tried to head him off in the first place. So Icarus came back and said, "Okay." So just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, I got
72.
Yep.
Okay. That will require a second percentile roll, please.
Going for low. Is it true?
In this case, no. There's not necessarily. It's just the second thing you're rolling for is the details of the misfortune. Ooh.
I went low anyway.
As long as you don't roll an 11. Oh boy. No.
No.
No, once again, guys, you know what they say about a problem ignored? Once again, a setback in the tending of coffers. Ledgers are errant and thrones are lost. Is this a careless accident or hidden embezzlement? Last time it cost you 1 profit factor. This time it cost you 2.
Someone's stealing money from us.
Someone
Never
is.
had. Yeah.
Yep, someone is embezzling. So, that brings you down to what? 34 profit factor. Now, what would you guys like to do in this last month? It seems as if House Fell have retreated back in. At least they're not actively trying to harm you, but seemingly someone in the house finds weakness with House Aquare because they are embezzling funds.
We try and counter the embezzlement, anyone?
If you counter the embezzlement, that'll restore that 2 profit factor.
Or do we want to try and finish off the things we're so close to? I think Archon is going to attempt a direct attack on House Fell.
The Twilight Sword struck hard a couple of months ago, so yeah. Makes sense.
They're not expecting it now.
I think that Noros and his men were sent back, but they don't realize we have a second force.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So would you like to spend any profit factor on that?
No, he's just going to rely on his skills.
Here we go. Come on. Oh.
They are ready. They are countering.
Fell has his defenses up, it seems. Jeffrey, what do you think?
Ignatius thinks that everyone is taking the wrong direction here on trying to finish off House Fell, and they've sort of hunkered themselves down, and it's time to politically crush them as opposed to with military force. So he's coming in with a huge amount of influence from House Aquare. He wants to get this job done before his cousin arrives home.
Okay.
Let's spend a huge amount. 4? Yeah, I agree with Dave. He's gonna
Okay.
spend
25 profit factor.
If you blow it, you'll burn a house fell to the ground. At least, metaphorically speaking. But
Here we go. He
we go.
really wants it.
4's 70, 7-0 you're rolling against.
Okay, come on. Come on, roll 20. Come on.
There you go.
Oh, I mean, good thing I spent it.
Yep, so that's 2 more towards it. All right. Put you at 21. You were 3 off from smashing House Fell. And 1 off from securing that new ally. What do you think, Sean?
Been focused on the ally.
New friends or defeating old enemies? Which one would Captain Aquare be happier with?
So going forward, after we're done with the 6 months, so that progress will perhaps be reflected in reality as we go forward a little bit.
100%. Yeah, like one of the neat things with the there are things called meta endeavors that you can do. What my intention is like for each month you're going to set each of your allies to tasks, and then we'll be taking advantage of it. Like, it's a risk reward factor. So if you fail on these tasks, then you potentially have a profit factor consequence for that. But I want to give you guys allies, and you can choose to have them focus on the same tasks you guys are. So those longer endeavors that we'll be doing, you can have more things going on than at one time, than what just simply the crew can manage. So whatever isn't achieved today, the progress is still going to be reflected. It just means that we're going to be slowing down our the pace of time, because Captain Aquari and the rest of the crew is going to have a lot of stuff ready to, I'm sure ready to do or take advantage of.
I think I'm going to try to finish off the ally.
Okay.
And Icarus sits Dr. Klaus back in his seat and goes off to try to finish the job.
Let me see your heels for a second. You should cool them.
Yep.
So any profit factor being spent?
Not this time. See what happens.
Come on. You just need 1. There you go. Look at that.
There it is.
Big progress. What I'll even let you do is that'll be 1 to get it completed, and then you still have 3 left over. Why don't you put 3 into a new endeavor for building the relationship with House Armelon.
Yeah,
so
Icarus is
if you
now.
could, on that influence chart, add maybe like an area that says like endeavors, and have influence House Armelon at 3 out of 9, and have
so House Armelon influence?
Yeah, influence House Armelon as under the one of the endeavors, and that will be at 3 out of 9 right now. The other is to sabotage House Fell, and that is 21 out of 24. So, the last thing I guess I need to know from you guys. So congratulations. And your profit factor goes up by 2. Because you have successfully made a new ally. That is 1 endeavor concluded. Guys, let's talk about the profit for returning. I also want to know what you guys intend on doing when you return to Footfall.
Does our status with House Val change? Or does it change only with 24?
The status for House Fell doesn't necessarily apply in this game because we don't influence isn't a thing in this, so you could leave it as is for now. But they definitely do not fucking like you.
I would say. Open war. Open war.
Okay.
Hey, he started it.
All right.
If I remember correctly.
What do we say?
Who fell?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember who.
it doesn't matter.
It really
We say
doesn't-
He started it.
He did actually. You know what? Because he and Lady Ash tried to steal that Nemoleth from you.
Yeah,
Back-
that's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Yep.
They totally started it.
Totally started it.
Let me make
Big
this.
time.
Point the finger at him.
This may seem like a macro statue right now,
Yeah.
but I want to fit everybody on the same page here. There we go. So what? Let me tell you what your increase in profit factor is. Okay. You do have some riches you are bringing back, including, remember, there's that oversized Nemolith that you guys recovered. The Aquila Nemolith,
Yeah.
right? That had the all that navigation data. That stuff's going to be quite valuable. So, let me see here. That is that.
Where did we get it? Remember?
You took that from the Righteous Path.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From the creepy hallway sculpting it.
Yeah, that is pretty much the decor of most Imperial ships, so it'd be difficult to tell one of those from the other. Let's see here. So what are you guys planning on doing?
I think we should celebrate our Lord Captain's family and their successes while we were transitioning the war.
Yeah, and our return, right? We need a gathering for sure, like
Yes.
a big dinner or something to reacquaint, tell all of our tales,
Make sure the food's tasted before you eat it,
right?
because we've got a lot of enemies now.
Have tasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and go over all the progress on Footfall. Big
Invite
dinner.
Friends?
So,
Oh yeah, invite new friends. Maybe later in the evening we'll have a family gathering, and then for the after dinner we'll invite new friends.
You're not invited to the wedding, but you can come to the dance.
Exactly. We'll invite Madame Charlebelle and her entourage,
okay.
who Icarus is very tight with now.
So, I'll tell you what you guys are going to be achieving with all the information you got with whatever else. This is assuming you do nothing with the Nemolith. If you do nothing with the Nemolith, you can increase your not increase. Go ahead and increase your profit factor by 12.
Nice.
If you wish to dispose of the Nemolith, increase it by another 10. If you keep the Nemolith, then it will be providing benefits and other areas to explore. If your navigator, if Regius, spends time on an endeavor understanding the various places that the Righteous Path had gone during its travels. So it
Regius
could...
returns from holiday.
Exactly. Regis sadly had back-to-back midnight meetings, so I'm not sure if you guys saw in chat, but he had a meeting at like 2:30 in the morning his time, a presentation with work.
Yeah.
Because it happened to be on the so he's like, one of these nights where I'm up till ungodly hours, I can handle 2 in a row. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
And Godwin's like, Lord Captain, as much as I would love to see immediate returns from the spoils of our trip, I believe keeping the Aquila and utilizing it for its information. Even if we choose not to utilize that information, we could sell information as we learn things from it. I believe that will benefit us greater in the long run.
Yes, yes. We'll hang on to it, see what it brings, have time to milk it for whatever it can offer.
We walk by the hallway, and Cornelius is doing this to the Aquila. What are you doing?
So that puts you back up to 42 then.
Okay.
So the stratagems of the last little while have cost you, but you've also gained some new allies. You have now 2. And actually, you know what, Dave? Sorry, I changed my mind because if we go back to Imperium Maledictum at any point, we're going to want to have what those scores are. So why don't we increase, let's see here, with House Fell, put it at -3, please. And House Armelon, you can put that at +1.
Nice.
Yeah, for after dinner, we can both invite the Madam. Jerry is a good invite there.
Yep. Yeah, you've yet to meet Captain Blitz.
Yeah. Yep. We didn't make a decision on Diak, did we?
Have not made a decision on Diak yet. You have not made a decision yet how you wish to... it seems in your absence that Ignatius has made allies with a faction of the Eldar, the Twilight Swords. So whether you wish to... I guess like what you guys had not... At least I don't remember what the decision was as to how to deal with the Eldar, infrastructure that seems to have fused itself to the Mortis Probati.
We'll have to revisit that. I'm not sure yet either. Probably leave it up to Ignatius's judgment whether it's appropriate to invite. I mean, probably invite a member of the Twilight Swords to our after dinner. But if Ignatius thinks it's appropriate.
Why don't you guys give us once again another lore Xenos? Forbidden lore Xenos.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like we were gonna show it to them, they're like the space elves, right?
They are the space elves. Yes.
Right.
I
thought that the decision was to talk with them.
You'll have plus 20. It'll be routine, so 20 as your modifier.
Here we go, 20. Oh,
You've spent. We're into our last hour. You haven't spent any fate or fortune or whatever it's called in this game.
You're true.
Is it called fate?
Yeah. What do you think?
It is called Fate. Yes.
Fate. Okay. You want to spend a fate point and re-roll?
You
Either of you
have a
guys?
higher score than me. I would.
Yeah. You only got 45 minutes left. Good time for a fate.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. Do it.
Go.
There we go.
Huge roll. Okay, so what I wanted to see is whether it would how much you understood about the factions of Eldar. What there seems to be is, broadly speaking, about 4 different factions that you may encounter in the Coronis Expanse. One of them we're going to go from like the most obviously and exceptionally dangerous to kind of the least, although they're all quite dangerous. They may have features that are similar to humans. They are most assuredly not. Most dangerous, the Dark Eldar. They are distinct and obviously distinct from any of the other factions. They are raiders. They have strange, body modifications. They are the most 90s of the Eldar, I think, is a way of understanding the Dark Eldar. and they are very rarely. You can deal with them, you can trade with them, but they are very dangerous. They also seem to be apart from their other kind. The next most dangerous is probably the privateers and corsairs, which are the pirates. That would include the Archons. There are the Twilight Swords, but there are other factions within there, including the Crow Spirits, who are very dangerous, and hold on, I can tell you what the other one is. They are the... because there's the Twilight Swords, the Crow Spirits, and the...
What kind of spirit?
The Crow?
Crow?
Yeah, CROW.
Okay.
Again, the most 90 of things. And the Children of Thorns. So the Children of Thorns, the Crow Spirits, and the Twilight Swords are the biggest factions of Corsairs and Privateers. Again, they can be useful allies, but they can also be very unpredictable. They can also change their mind. They can be very mercurial.
And the Twilight Swords are the ones that we have a kind of a relationship with at this point?
Yep.
We have a +2 influence with them.
Yeah. And I think you rolled well enough. You would know that the Twilight Swords are less dangerous than the Crow Spirits. The Crow Spirits seem more... let me think here. No, actually, the Twilight Swords are among the most dangerous that you can find. So, let me...
So we have a good relationship with them, but they are dangerous.
It is really strange that they are so happy to ally themselves with you.
Ooh, that's scary.
Hold on, I'm just going to make sure of something here.
And these are factions in the Cronus Expanse?
Yeah, these are factions in the Cronus Expanse. These are just, well, not even in the Cronus Expanse. These are just like the kinds of Eldar you can deal with. I just wanted you to understand that, so when you're meeting with them, you'll understand the difference between like a Corsair or a Craft World Eldar or a kind of renegade. Because there can also be those who are seemingly unconnected to the others. Some of those would include the Harlequins, and some of those would call the... Gosh, I think it's the Asurai, which are like the independent kind of actors. I'm probably getting that name wrong, but I sort of remember it sounding similar to that. So the most dangerous, again, Dark Eldar, very, very bad news. The Privateers and Corsairs, likewise, very dangerous, very often to kill people. The Twilight Swords have often known to slaughter people as well, and they do not seem to be doing so with you. It's unusual for them to be so... again, remember, they're not even just like helpful. Like Archon seems to have shown up to help at Ignatius's most dire time of need with his fellow agents. The next is the Craft World. The Eldar, live on these massive vessels, like larger than the kinds of things that the Imperium would build. Something equivalent to like a watch station, almost a giant space station, but a ship. And each of them has their own culture and whatever else with different colorings and whatnot. They can be easy to deal with. They seem to be have more clear and specific interest because they're the largest of the groupings of them. And the final group is the renegades, the ones that don't seem to have a place in Eldar culture otherwise. They are the least hostile because typically if you see them, they're choosing to be seen and choosing to deal with humanity. So that could be individuals who are trying to make contact, which are the I can't remember that the fourth faction, the unconnected to the Craft World, unconnected to the Corsairs, unconnected to the Dark Eldar is called. But the other thing is the Harlequins. And the Harlequins seem to be some kind of like secret cult within them. And if the Harlequins are choosing for you to see them, they can be following some very, secretive and unknown plot. If you don't see them, it probably means they don't want you to see them, or you're dead, you just haven't seen them yet. Because they can also be dangerous assassins. So, of those, Archon currently fits in one of the more dangerous realms of it, as far as the Eldar you would deal with. So in making a decision as to how to pursue a potential dealings with it, the Wraith Bone and the Spirit Stones that are in the Mortis Probati likely came from, at the least, a large enough ship for a community of Eldar to live on, potentially something even larger. There may be a fragment of a craft world, meaning if the craft world survived the experience of brushing up against a Space Hulk, then it would be very weird for them to, because the Eldar ships travel through a very different method than what the Imperial ships. You don't know anything about it, apart from that they make use of some ancient spaceway that humanity has no way of accessing. So, those are the 4 factions of Eldar, broadly speaking, that you could approach. There are representatives of each of those within the Cronus Expanse.
Yeah, I added some of the notes too.
Okay. You can note the one craft world that is known to be in the Cronus Expanse is called Keylor. I think that is how it's spelt, but I'll double check. So, in the coming months and years in the Cronus Expanse, what are you guys thinking? Have you any plans that you're getting back to sort of pursue right away? Is there any gear you want to upgrade?
Ooh.
You could hire on more crew as well.
Right there.
Do you want to have a celebration on the ship when we return, Captain? Will that help our morale? As mentioned, I have other ways to improve morale, but it costs a lot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a long time in warp. That's a no-brainer. I mean, they're going to get some, obviously they're going to get some leave. But, yeah, that's a good call. Like a celebration of return after so many months in the warp. Good call.
Maybe we can get some cactuses on wholesale.
I don't think we need any more cactuses on board.
I don't know. Does anyone have any low-hanging fruit on gear? I'm trying to remember what I had in mind. I think I've got what I want. I think I don't think there's anything obvious.
I think Alessander needs a new gun, if I remember correctly. His gun is total poop.
So once per game session, a captain or other authority figure can make a difficult -10 charm or intimidate test to rally the crew, regaining 2 morale for every degree of success. This will only work once per game session.
Are you not entertained?
Charm or intimidate, eh?
Yep.
Well, let's get that done.
Don't you have some kind of skill when...
But here's the best way to restore a crew's morale is to put into port. If you spend 3 weeks at orbital anchor replenishing supplies and allowing the crew to travel to the surface, it will restore the ship's morale to maximum.
Oh. What do we do?
3 weeks at footfall.
Oh, 3 weeks of shore leave and the crew will be...
You could, Captain, make a routine acquisition test to cut that down to a week. but I don't know if you guys are intending on spending longer time here or what.
I mean, we've been in space for a long time, so it wouldn't be surprising if we spent a little time on football. 3 weeks is not crazy.
Okay. So
we have things to do, like whatever they are. We're going to come up with some things here, whether they're acquiring some gear,
sure,
working on the ship,
for restoring the crew. At a place like this, with your reputation, it would be a acquisition test at plus 20. And acquisition tests are done with your profit factor, I believe. Let's take a look here.
So for commerce, explore my use commerce skill to improve the profit factor prior to making an acquisition test. Is that a different acquisition test?
That would be this one. If you're making an acquisition test to try and replenish the crew.
Okay. You can make a commerce test before to improve
our acquisition test.
Okay.
Nice.
To improve because I think your profit factor. I'm just trying to find. Hold on here. The acquisition test. Rather than flipping around, I was going to find it in.
I wish I could send this to the chat with the little
hovering
over the eye.
The eye, yeah. But we got it. We got the same thing, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Explore may use the commerce skill to improve
you must
the
roll.
profit factor.
Yeah. So what it is the roll must be equal to the profit factor or less, and you have acquired it. So it's gonna be plus 20. What does your commerce roll do? Are you hovering over commerce? Because I got to just go to the skill description in the core book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the.
Commerce.
Let's see here. Commerce.
I think this is the commerce. That's if you're doing an acquisition test against somebody else in like a.
Oh, okay. You're combining acquisitions.
This is for increasing our profit factor.
No, here's David. So page 273 of the core book. An explorer may use the commerce skill to improve his profit factor prior to making the acquisition test. For each degree by which... Oh, it is a contest, you're right. Of commerce versus commerce. Of the person or organization he is trading with. Each degree of the explorer beats his opponent. He may increase it by 2 points.
Yeah, so that's where I'm thinking, like, that's where actually actively trading or something with another party.
Well, this would be I'd still let you do that. Like, it would just be I'd use an average score or something like that for whoever you're dealing with.
Okay.
So would you like to?
So it's kind of like aiding our acquisition test kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I have a 48. Who else is so endowed?
My commerce is 57.
All right. That sounds pretty good. If that's allowable to have the Godwin to make that roll.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's so it would be 57. And this would be contested. I'm going to set the guy at 50, I think. 50. No, that's actually too high. That's too high. I'll put it at 30. So go ahead and make your roll there, Godwin. Oop, I just rolled 2 fucking 10 stitches. Come on, Madison. Get in the game. Okay.
It's time for me to use
fate point.
Yeah.
Fate that sucker.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yes. So you beat me
Nice.
by 6 degrees, which means you can increase count your profit factor as 12 higher for the purpose of this acquisition.
Okay, so that would make profit factor 54 for the acquisition, Captain.
Yep, and plus 20 because this is an easy one. So go ahead and give us. I think there is a button for acquisition roll, and you're going to modify it by 32.
Okay, so 42 goes to 74.
Right, but if you click on it, it should ask you for a modifier. You don't change the profit factor because it doesn't change permanently. It's only a modifier for this particular roll.
All right. So availability, leave is +0.
Yes. We'll just skip to the point, no other modifier until you get to where it asks you for a modifier and put 32. No plus sign.
Okay.
Come on.
A lot of questions. Let's see here.
Yeah, this is the legacy of the previous one, right?
Yeah, because it's got... let's see here. Yeah, it's got availability, and then it's got scale. And
Scale.
then it's got craftsmanship.
Yeah, ignore those. Still 0, 0, 0.
Okay. And then other modifiers, 32.
32, please.
There we go.
Yes. You can restore
Nice.
your crew back to 100.
Nice.
Now,
Amazing.
there is the matter of these Kroot who wish to join up with House Aquare.
I like it. Alessander is all in.
He likes the idea
Repairs.
of the Kroot.
Yeah, let's see about repairs to the ship.
We'll role play the. What say you, Lord Captain, about this Kroot mercenary? Alessandra, you seem to be in.
I like them.
And if you wish to, like, you can bring them on board. You can bring them. You can assign them to, work with Ignatius. You can assign them to work with Lady Octavia. If you're choosing to retain Diok, it will be your choice as to where they are going.
What about how about if Quinilly has a chat with Madame Charlebel, who has some other Kroot under her employ, that he can have a little tete-a-tete with her about her experience with the Kroot,
Yeah,
and see what her experience is, having employed some herself.
that's a good idea. Yeah. Why don't you give us a...
Good use of a new friendship, too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So the... why don't you give us a charm check there, Captain, at plus 10. Nice. So how do you frame your question to Madame Charlebel?
Quinilly is charming. Like, he is, he's been trained from a young age of being among others of nobility and whatnot. And this is a softball pitch. Like, he's like, so, madam, given your experience, I'm interested in your insight, your wisdom of you have employed these Kroot before. I crave your knowledge that of what you think about their loyalty and their effectiveness.
Okay. Do you meet her aboard the Grace of Sofa? And do you bring her to the Mortis Probati, or do you meet with her somewhere on Footfall?
Do I Grace of Sofa?
The Grace of Sofa is her ship.
Yeah. Does Quinilly have any sense of what would, if it doesn't matter, if there's no matter of culture that dictates that, then I think I wouldn't mind having a glance at her ship. If it doesn't reflect poorly, I wouldn't mind getting a little peek.
If you're intent on seeing the Kroot at work too, she would have them on board too, right?
Yeah. And of course, I will pass along the message if it's okay. If I could come by your fine craft to elicit your counsel, I would appreciate it.
Do you let her know that you want to speak to her about the Kroot?
Yeah. Give her a heads up on the give her a heads up on the subject matter.
Okay.
Because you were really thinking she's going to be more comfortable on her own ship and thus at ease. And
True.
Who would you like to bring with
As
you?
long as I wasn't sure if there was a cultural aspect of of overstepping or whatever. Probably not. Sure.
Who would you like to bring with you, Captain?
Ali Saunders so excited about the whole thing, I guess.
Anybody who's into eating weird shit for Alessander is on board with that.
Totally. They might be on something.
I mean, I'll bring as long as there's not a reason not to, and I assume there's not. I'll bring, Alessander, Godwin, and if possible, I'll bring Lady Ash.
Yeah.
As a council,
Yep.
as a member of the inner council.
Absolutely. Okay. So when you guys arrive, you travel, I'm assuming, by Thunderhawk or something similar to that. And let's see here, or the gun cutter. Is this the one here? Yeah, look at that, guys.
Oh, nice.
When you arrive, accompanied by, did I bring them over? Let's see here. That's right, because we now have more appropriate uniforms for House Aquare. For the troops, right?
like more appropriate for her.
But for what we were using before, what I was using before was for the kind of spacesuit things for the Aquare are... It's an illustration from the solar guard, the solar system kind of like protectors in 40K. It's a badass illustration. So I like doing it, but since you guys are,
But not like more appropriate for viewers kind of thing.
well, it's just more appropriate for it. It's also, I think that this one is also a badass illustration of 40K stuff too. It's just that it is where the heck? Oh, here we go. It's in this tranche here. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I might have mentioned this, but we've run an awful lot of games the first half of this year. Holy shit.
Oh my goodness. As every year.
This year, I think we may be shooting for a record just with all those one shots for the first half of the year. Yeah. We were at, I think, at like 33 by halfway through the year.
Whoa.
Which was high. I mean, great fun. Don't get me wrong. Just it's a bit of a blur at this point. Here we go. So this is just the headshot of it. I don't know. I can't find a full body shot, but remember, these are what we were using for the Aquare House Guard now. Yeah. Yeah, and I can't find the... There's a lot of Star Wars stuff here. No, we got a Gila Demon. Wait. Guys. Go. I just found a tranche from when we started playing Imperium Maledictum.
Space Hydras? Oh no, that's a Fang Dragon. 40K Fang Dragons? There's got to be something, right?
You know what's interesting is that we don't have stats for what do you call it? Any of the Tyranids in either Imperium Maledictum or what do you call it?
Rogue Trader?
Wrath and Glory yet. Rogue Trader, we don't in Rogue Trader, but we do in Death Watch. So I have stats for them in the FFG games, but in none of the Cubicle 7 games yet do we have. We got Gene Stealers, but we don't have proper Tyranids. So, yeah. So these are the Armsmen, which I'm assuming you're taking a small detachment of them with you.
Yeah, the standard. Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be heading out with you as well, too. When you get off your ship, knowing it seems that Madame Charlebelle may be playing with you a bit. That's your welcoming party. Kroot. They do not have the dignified, and regimented way of presenting themselves the way your Armsmen do, but they seem quite fearsome and under control because they do not attack you. They escort you.
They're not wielding their daggers like that, like in the pitch.
Yeah. Welcome to our ship. We're so happy to see you.
Yeah.
They are not. They do, however, kind of, they're moving around in kind of a predatory way, looking at you. They only also are able to communicate in broken Low Gothic. So it's kind of like, here. And they lead you along to meet with her. I don't have an illustration for her as of yet, but I will between now and next session.
Okay.
And when you're brought before her, she says to the things, "Thank you, Proc. You may leave us. I expect you can keep the Aquare Guard company." And what you see is the inside of the Grace of Sofa is exceptionally well maintained. Like, it is like spit shine, polished seemingly everywhere. The overall impression you're getting from when you walk in is that this is a tightly run operation. Would you give us? You've got a Rogue Trader lore, don't you, Captain? Lord Captain.
Let's see here. I do.
Why don't you give us a roll of that at? I think it's 0 modifier, so challenging.
Okay.
Or whatever it's called in this game.
I will, of course, spend a fate.
Got it.
Let's see here. Not to be.
So you're taken in. I mean, it seems taken in by the surroundings. Like it is an incredibly impressive. Clearly, this was a valued part of the Armelon fleet. Fortunate that it survived the orc apocalypse on her clan's or dynasty's homeworld. Home system, I suppose. But she brings you in into an incredible boardroom. What Godwin and Alessander, you guys could do you have a lore that you think would apply to judging the fitness or whatever of a vessel, a starship?
Yeah, I mean, some amount, right?
Well, what I'm asking is, do you have a skill? Do you have a lore that you think would apply?
I have Imperial Navy.
Yeah.
I have tech. I have lore tech. And I have
lore Imperial Navy. Give us a roll on that at with 0 modifier. Yeah.
Oh, nope.
Okay.
It's a nice
Godwin?
ship.
Point.
Yeah, you get fortunate. Yeah, or fate point it.
Oh, yeah.
18 minutes left.
Might as well. Yes.
Nice.
There you go.
Let Kevin have his information he wants to give us.
So what you find is this is definitely a very well-maintained thing. But Alessandra, as you're looking around, your experience with the Imperial Navy, you know when someone is getting ready for an inspection, right? Like if you got brass showing up, what you do to get everything ready so it looks as good as it can be for that. There's just those little subtle things of like an overlooked spot, or like someone who's like forgot to put away some cleaning thing or whatever. There just is there's the look that, and it's hard to notice, like you rolled quite well on this, but it's clear that someone is putting on a good presentation for your visit.
Right. This was done for us.
Yeah.
I think that's something I would point out later to the captain, not now.
Okay. I believe that you brought Lady Ash with you, which means you could communicate telepathically. So if you wish to try and communicate that to him, Lady Ash could convey that message to him.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Cornelius seems impressed. He's probably, Alexander can tell, I think, that he's thinking, are we slipping? Like, maybe so much time in the warp. This is really nice in here.
It's like when you come back from someone's house and they have an appliance you want. Like, guys, we should really get whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
I think I would kind of tell him something, but I would make it polite. Like, they've gone all out for you, Captain. Something like that, like let him know that they've put an effort into preparing for our visit, but in a polite way. They're new friends.
Listen, Captain, your couch is fine. Don't worry about it. You don't need to replace it now. It's a little warm. It's okay.
So you're brought into the meeting area, or her boardroom. You're sat down. You're served incredible, food, and your guards are waiting outside. But your advisors can be in here as well, and I imagine she has hers with her as well. And she says, "So, Captain, or Lord Captain, you wish to discuss my experience with the Xenos mercenaries?"
First of all, Madam Charlebelle, the Grace of Sofa is an honor to your family. Impressive in every way.
Your kind words are appreciated. From what I hear, the Mortis Probati is an impressive vessel itself. You were fortunate, and it is a credit to your house that they have deigned to place you in charge of the Aquare's presence in the Cronus Expanse once again.
I appreciate that. We're busy at work. As you may have heard, the warp had its own plans for our sense of urgency on matters, but we have returned, and better late than never, as they say.
And with great riches, I hear. You should know that your kinsman, Ignatius, acquitted himself well in your absence, and did much to make a name among those who had forgotten the honor due House Aquare.
I had heard of such. I appreciate you mentioning it. I am told that the macro statue has been returned to its full glory, as the Emperor would have.
I heard there was trouble in the macro statue, and that your agents of your dynasty helped clear that holiest of places in Footfall. Again, a credit to your lineage.
Indeed, I am appreciative that even when held in the warp, that others are accounting of themselves well in the Emperor's name.
I'm also impressed you had a Kriegsman among your number.
Indeed, there is a relationship in my family and them that have them lending their great skills to our family's works that we appreciate very much.
Am I correct that that debt dates back to the siege of Vrax?
Assuming she's correct. Indeed.
It is.
Yes.
I'm just being a shameless, like, Easter egg pursuit here. The Siege of Vrax is a very famous long-term engagement that the Deathcore Krieg was involved with.
Yes, indeed. It's whatever a difficult combat, to be sure, but maybe some positives came of it, including our relationship with the Death Corps that continues to this day.
With such resources to draw on, I'm curious that you would turn your mind to Xenos mercenaries.
Their availability came to our attention, and Kevin, what is about the Kroot? We find that they may know something, right? They may, because of their very unique abilities.
Yeah, like one of the things that they can do is, because they have their strange, like, for one, their aversion and kind of their aversion to consuming Tyranids and their hatred of them, because they view, like, you can imagine the culture and the cultural values that grow up around when you can change your genetics by consuming things. That becomes an extraordinarily important part of your culture. What the Tyranids do is disintegrate things and then reform them to go and continue consuming. They view them as anathema and as abominations. But the other thing they can do is, with a bit of flesh or a bit of blood, they can taste and tell you if there's gene stealer infection.
Yeah.
Right.
So, carrying forward our conversation about the cleansing of the Emperor's macro statue, it has come to my attention that the Kroot have a unique ability to determine whether someone is infected potentially with the gene stealer infection, and yes, through their unique trait of changing their makeup through the consumption of their enemies.
That is curious. I was unaware of
Indeed.
such. If they have presented themselves to you, I would rely on my Kroot as willingly as I would my own house guards. I mean that not as a slight to my guards. I hold them in very high esteem. But the Kroot mercenaries, when they are purchased, I can trust that they remain purchased. Though, it's curious, our circumstances, I feel, I cannot speak to the function of their Xenos minds, but I suspect my history with the orcs and their history. Are you aware of their hatred of them? Their allegiance with the Tau, that other Xenos threat. It relates to a debt they feel owed when the Tau saved their homeworld from the orcs.
Indeed, I have heard of such a thing.
In the same way that my Kroot, I think, view me as a foe of the orcs, as they themselves are. It seems yours, they may view you in a similar light.
Indeed. Well, it is good to get your recommendation. I was leaning favorably towards it, but wanted to benefit from your insight first. Thank you for your input.
I am curious of one. And I mean this not to deter you, but my understanding, your family, it has deep roots which connect to the Inquisition. Rumors around Footfall are that you are not on unkind terms with some of the Eldar, or your house at least is not, to the detriment of your enemies. And now you propose to bring Kroot on board as well.
All for the enemies, all for the Emperor's light, of course.
Oh, of course. And even the Holy Inquisition recognizes the value in using the tools which are necessary and present themselves.
Indeed. They, my family has I think has the practical outlook that the Emperor would have rogue traders use when it comes to spreading the light of the Emperor beyond the borders of his current kingdom.
Indeed. The light of Holy Terra is very far away. It is sometimes necessary to achieve the goals of the God Emperor in unexpected ways. Captain, I offer you my advice as a token of our, if not friendship, then association.
I accept it with gratitude and look forward to our future collaboration on matters that would benefit us both.
Indeed. In exchange and recognition for our newfound association, might I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that among the friends that your kinsman Ignatius has acquired, Lord Captain, and she says it like it tastes bad in her mouth, Blitz is one of those new contacts.
Yes, I'm assuming I haven't met her yet, Kevin. That hasn't happened, right?
Not yet, no.
Yes, Lord Captain Blitz, is that her name?
Yeah, it's she calls herself Jerry.
Yeah, Geraldine Blitz, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Lord Captain Blitz was there that was willing to assist Ignatius and his team at the time that they were pursuing the Gene Stealers, the cult that had infested the Macro statue, and had shown herself to be one to associate with in good faith. And so I have not met her yet, but that's what Ignatius has told me.
I trust you to draw your own conclusion, but do you know how she achieved her warrant of trade?
Quinley smiles and says, yes, I did a bit out of the ordinary, I hear.
She has no legacy, no house. We are far from Holy Terra. The names of our dynasties, they are eternal. I have no reservation recommending or endorsing your decision to retain recruit mercenaries should you do so. But if you asked, I would caution against relying on Lord Captain Blitz.
Have you had a specific association with her yourself in some matter?
That I would prefer to keep to myself, Lord Captain. But I offer you my advice on the matter. You are free to accept or refuse it as you deem appropriate.
Very good. I would perhaps describe, not having met her yet, but I would perhaps describe the association in similar terms to a practicality on the frontiers of the Imperium.
I think it's something she looks... We will all look for profit in opportunity, but it does not make us base opportunists.
Indeed.
It has been a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lord Captain.
You too, madam. This has been delightful.
I wish you profit in the Expanse.
And you as well. Are you going to be here for a bit? Because we just arrived, and we will. I assume we are going to be here for. I would think some weeks at least.
Godwin, there's something you notice in the kind of like, there's a look she kind of gives him like, no, we shall be here for some time still. Like as if like she's surprised that he said that, as if she expected him to know about something. She says, no, we will be here for some time.
Very good. Well, let me know if there's anything that we can collaborate on in the meantime with our respective pursuits.
Of course.
Can I try to, I don't know, figure out what she's trying to...
I don't think there's much more. What I've assumed is that you would be able to roll enough times with your fortune to be able to get to success in all likelihood. Yeah. What you know, just to be clear, her reaction seems to have been like a fucking like if she was being more transparent with it, her reaction would be like, "What are you fucking like? Of course I'm going to fucking be here. Don't you like? Are you not?" As if there was some reason she would expect him to know that, yeah, we're going to be here, but tried to act as if he didn't, you know. So she covered up the fact that, though not well enough for you to miss it.
She had a bit of a snarky...
Well, she's going to be here. Like the way he asked, "Oh, you gonna be here for a while?" Imagine like you got some appointment or something that's going to happen, right? And someone who you think would know about that would be like, "So you leaving?" And you're like, "No, man." Like, and what she has done instead is just acted like, "Oh, I expect I'll be around for a while." She did not correct him on a misapprehension that he had. That is definitely not something you could likely make a roll to get her out of, but what you could do in 2 weeks' time is perhaps track down what the hell might be keeping her here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So, with you guys leaving the Grace of Sofa, there is one other thing you are bringing with you. 150 XP. So...
Yes.
All right, then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 21 of our Rogue Trader campaign. And that's 21 of the Rogue Trader campaign proper. It's much more than that in the Rogue Trader campaign overall. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active, and there's channels there dedicated to Warhammer games in general, because we run a lot of them on the channel, as well as channels dedicated to finding a group or GM discussion or convention chat. There's a great community that has built up over the years over there, and you are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Now, no, I don't have a discount code for it yet. There is a discount code listed down there, but if you come to after the weekend, if you come to one of our more recent videos, if you're listening to this at another time, there will be a discount code there. And Noble Knight Games, which is one of the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America, they have not only an amazing selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. You will be able to, when you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, enter that discount code and save yourself 10% on the purchase. They also have in their extensive catalog, if something is not in stock that you're looking for, you can put it on a want list, and when you pick it up, you can enter that discount code. They'll send you an email when it comes in, and then you can pick it up at your leisure and save 10% by entering that code. I will have that updated early next week, so I do apologize for not having that updated yet. I'm a week out of date now. 2, in fact. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages, which is the charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, an incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. You can learn all about their activities by following that link, and if you make a donation through that link, none of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from SOS Children's Villages International. If you made a donation of $25 or more since the start of the year, head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and again, there's a link down below to that, and you'll be able to vote on the next of our charity mashup sessions. We have one coming up at the end of the month where we will be taking a session, or running a session, inspired by the classic Great Pendragon campaign, and we'll play that with the Fallout RPG, which has been selected by our donors. So we look forward to having a post-apocalyptic roundtable mashup. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have 2 more mashup sessions that people will be able to vote on between now and the end of the year, and those look to be some interesting mashups as well. At least I hope they will be. And again, all donations through that link go directly to them. None of it goes to the channel or anyone else. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from SOS Children's Villages International. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart explorers. So Sean, Jeffrey, and Dave, and James, we were thinking of you today as well. Thank you so much for joining me back in the Cronus Expanse. This was a really fucking fun session, and a good reminder of why this game is a lot of fun too. You know, because we talked, I think a lot offline more so, but about how much fun those other 2 games are. But the kind of like acquisition mechanics in this and whatnot, that's not present in those other games. So it's pretty fucking cool being able to see them at play in this one.
Yeah, and the relationships, like, you know, it's a little different, you know, like the rogue trader type stuff is fun. Definitely. Yeah. It's neat to like be able to steal ideas from each of the different games too, because like that influence thing, I could easily use that with success levels the exact same way we use success levels in Imperium Maledictum, because it's effectively the same mechanic in this game as it is in that one. So, but anyway, for those listening at home, we'll be back in the Cronus Expanse in 2 weeks' time. Until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes our explorers. I don't want to put you guys in the wrong light here. Our explorers on Footfall have encountered it. Until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.
Yeah.